about you is if you have ambition to be great, my job is to coach you to get all that greatness out of you.
What's good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back for another one. Today, we are going to drop my second draft big board of the season because before you know it, the draft is going to be here in about a month and, 2 weeks. So we're getting out ahead of it because this week, we're not going to be doing a big board. We're going to be dealing with free agency all week this week. And then we'll get back to the big boards after free agency and everything plays out. Depending on how free agency plays out, instead of my usual 5 big boards this year, we might be jumping up to 6. Just because if they fill one of these wide receiver or running back needs, then I'm just going to add another position to it. And definitely depending on how edge plays out and the offensive line gets put together. So it's going to be a lot to go over in the coming weeks, that's for sure. I do have a few things I wanted to talk about. One in particular is that today in basic Dolphins history, if people know their Dolphins history, today is actually one of the saddest days in Dolphin history. So I do, I do want to drop that. I want to talk about that quickly. I do want to talk about Amari Cooper and the lack of patience I saw specifically, on Twitter in regards to Chris Greer and everything going on. But another thing I do want to touch on again is once again this Deshaun Watson thing, because whatever platform you go on to, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, whatever the case may be, you're seeing still. Listen, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say one time only. Well, one time only again, I guess. It's over. Like, it's not happening. Okay. Deshaun Watson does not want to come here anymore. I've told y'all before, if Brian Flores was still the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, they would be in pursuit of Deshaun Watson because he would be willing to waive his no trade clause. Now you see that the Saints and the Panthers, I've been saying the Panthers for about 9 or 10 months now. I've been saying, watch them, watch them, watch them. Funny enough, they might end up being the last one left standing here because they'll be able to put together a better package than New Orleans. And Miami's biggest leverage in the whole Deshaun Watson thing is he was only willing to waive his no trade clause to come here. The fact that he's now willing to waive his no trade clause to potential NFC teams kills it either way, even if the Dolphins did want him right now. Because smart business is you're going to get him in the NFC. You're going to get him out of the AFC. And if anyone knows, David Tepper last offseason told his GM at the time, do whatever it takes to get Deshaun Watson. And then obviously the allegations, everything hit and it got brutal. But the leverage is now lost for the Miami Dolphins. He is not going to be coming here. So people getting bent out of shape. I see people arguing on Twitter about it, blocking people, attacking each other. People just losing their minds on all this. It's over. It's not even worth arguing with each other about anymore. It's not worth being toxic about. It's not. Because here's the thing. Watson doesn't want to come here anymore. That's what's done. And look at Brian Flores is in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh 2 days backed out of the Watson sweepstakes and made it clear that they don't want Watson. So even Tomlin, like what I'm telling you guys is this. Why get your hopes up? Why waste time arguing with each other about it? Why waste time attacking each other about it? Whether you like it or not, Deshaun Watson is not coming here. Whether you like it or not, for at least this year, I've told y'all the game plan. McDaniel is not tied to Tua. If Tua falls on his face this year, they got 2 first-round draft picks. They're either going to go get a franchise quarterback in a trade or they're going to try and draft one. And I've been telling you for weeks now The name to watch if you don't like Tua and you want a reason to hate on Tua and you want a name to throw out there, the name to watch is Lamar Jackson, because Baltimore is hesitant right now about paying him $40+ million a year. Ross wanted him in the draft. He's from the area. He's a former MVP. You know Ross is going to go goo goo gaga over that. If you want a name to potentially trade for and watch, that's the name to start watching now. Deshaun Watson is over. It's done. So why are we wasting our time talking about it, arguing about it, being toxic to each other about it, dividing the fan base over it? There's no point anymore. It's over with. Deshaun Watson is not going to be a Miami Dolphin. And if anyone wants to bet me money on this, bro, my PayPal is in the description alone. Right there. You send me money, I'll hold it. We will put a bet together against each other. It's not happening. Deshaun Watson doesn't want to come here anymore. This isn't before the trade deadline when Flores was here and he waved his. A lot has happened since the trade deadline. It's time for people to move on. And I see people having throw up signs about Lamar Jackson. Guys, I agree. Lamar Jackson as a passer, hell no. Lamar Jackson as an athlete, he's dynamic as hell. I would rather draft Will Levis next year in the draft than trade for Lamar Jackson. I agree. Trust me. Go get my boy Will from Kentucky. It is what it is. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's time people take reality into effect, start thinking with logic, start thinking with this instead of this, and thinking with this and saying, oh, well, Watson makes this better. No one's arguing that. But thinking with this will allow you to realize Watson is no longer, Miami is no longer an option to him. He would rather go to Tampa Bay, who I've heard has interest in him. They're a more complete team. He can still get his Tampa Bay fix. I don't think he's going to go there because of the stuff going on about Bruce Arians right now in terms of, what Tom has been saying privately, what Antonio Brown has said on like the Pivot podcast and stuff. Bruce Arians seems a little toxic right now, but I don't know. I'm just sitting here saying because Flores is not the head coach, it's dead. I mean, you just got to put it to bed. You got to put it to rest. Move on with your life. All this arguing, all this bickering, all this hate. Dudes out here not sounding like men. You guys are out here sounding like your girlfriend broke up with you 6 months ago, and you're that dude that keeps calling saying, yo, baby, come back, baby, come back, baby, come back. Baby, baby, don't leave. I can't find anyone better than you, baby, baby, baby. Bro, it's done. It's over. Move on with your life. Do something more productive and healthy with your time. You guys are going to give yourselves heart attacks and strokes, and you haven't even, well, some of you on Twitter, I'm sure, have entered your 50s. Just move on with your life. Just move on. And you can't even blame Greer and Ross, because I see on Twitter, everyone is coming for Greer and Ross over this. You can't even blame Greer and Ross anymore. Watson don't want to come here. They can't even pursue him if they wanted to. Even if they wanted to pursue him right now, it would be a moot point. It would be a lost cause. Because he doesn't want to be here. What are people not understanding? Flores leaving changed the dynamic. Come on, man. This is not rocket science. So people just need to chill. Right? And then that's going to segue me into, especially with Dolphins Twitter and everyone freaking out and blaming Ross and Greer right now. Dude, the amount of people I'm seeing losing their mind over the fact that the Browns traded what they traded, which albeit wasn't a lot, but they had to take on a $20 million contract. People are legitimately mad about this. First of all, Amari Cooper would be the number 2. Why are you going to pay $20 million to the guy who's going to be your number 2? Jalen Waddle is the number 1. Why would you pay $20 million to to someone who's going to be playing second fiddle to Jalen Waddle. It makes no sense whatsoever. The name I've been told to watch is DJ Shark. Now, sure, I like the athletic profile. Sure, I like the ceiling of Shark. He's still young, but the guy stays injured. And by the way, if you watched my show on Friday, I told all of y'all that the Browns were finalizing a deal for Amari Cooper. So if you watched me on Friday, you were not surprised, or you were a Patreon, you were not surprised by the Browns news, because I told all of y'all on Friday this is what I was hearing was being finalized, and bada boom, bada bing, there you go, Amari Cooper off the market. So I just don't get it. The name I've been told to watch is DJ Shark. If you're a Patreon, you got my update yesterday. It doesn't look like Al, and you got the reason why. I'm not going to give away the reason why on here, but it does not look likely like Allen Robinson is going to be here. If you are a Patreon, you got that reason. You know exactly why. By the way, smash that like button, Nordy 230 if you're in the room. Subscribe if you'd like to donate. PayPal.me/Phinside. You can become a Patreon to find out that info. I had 2 posts yesterday about things I'm hearing regarding free agency. It's been a slow day right now. Patreon.com/Phinside the NFL. And you can also hit the join button, become a YouTube member, get early access when I do my film studies and such. So, you know, with Allen Robinson, it just, I'm leaning more towards drafting right now. If you want my honest opinion, I'm leaning more towards seeing what's available wide receiver wise, which is great about the big board I'm about to drop on you guys. I'm leaning more towards going the wide receiver route in the draft. I really am. Because all the top names are dropping off, and even still, we wanted a bunch of those names to hit free agency. So a guy like Allen Robinson could be pushed down, in the money aspect. But now Allen Robinson is basically going to dominate the market. Even if he did want to come here, he's going to be getting paid. So I'm leaning towards drafting another wide receiver and then finding like a mid-tier guy. Like, go get Cordell Patterson, who could play your X if you need him to, or you can line him up in the backfield and do gadget plays with him. Go pay that. Pardon me. Go pay Cordell Patterson $8 to $9 to $10 million a year to do that, right? I know a lot of people love Juju, and I had Juju on my free agent target list last year. The reason why I don't have him this year is I want Bowden to get a lot of the Y snaps. I want Waddle to be my Z, and I want to find that X. So Juju has proved, I don't know if I'm not going to keep Juju as my X, right? Like, he's a slot receiver. He's a big slot guy, right? So that's why I kind of, take care of free agency so I can go back to back with running back. Sorry, I can go back to back with receiver. And then at 50, if you take care of the offensive line, so I can take a running back, and then I want to move up from 100 and get Matt Araiza. I am locked in on moving up from 100 to guarantee I get Matt Araiza. I'm sorry, I just am. That guy is a game changer. I think we will be back to having one of the best special teams unit in the NFL. I want Matt Araiza with our 3rd pick. Don't care how. I'm not willing to wait to 101 to see if he's there or not. I don't think he's going to be there, especially after that combine. I'm fine with forget the receiver, forget paying an $18 to $20 million receiver. Go trade for Lyle Collins, $10 million. Go find someone who can pay left. If you got to pay Terron Armstead, go pay him $23 million, $33 million. Go pay $11 million a year to Jensen. $44 million of my cap now gone. Go get Laken Tomlinson or James Daniels at $8 or $9 million a year to go play left guard. $52 million of my money gone. Free it up, baby. And then spend the rest of the money you got left, the 30-ish some odd million you have left after that, filling and go get a linebacker. You know what I mean? Go get Raheem Moser on the cheap. Go get a cheap backup quarterback that's going to cost you under $5 million. Go get some depth to replace Adam Butler after you cut his $4.1 million. Spend that other $30 to $20 million wisely and save 9 of it for the draft. That's what I'd be pushing my chips on. Just drop 40 to 50 million in the offensive line. Make it so the only starter from last year is Robert Hunt, and the only other guy who, and then Dieter can become a swing guard or center. Jackson become a swing tackle. You can continue to develop Liam Eichenberg without having to worry about having to cringe while he's on the field. Yeah, I would pay Needham. Yeah, Needham. You definitely got to keep Needham around. And give X his money. Like, I'm fine with just splurging on the offensive line, really, to be honest with you. And then so we can get all of our, we can start adding weapons they want in their vision during the draft. So, I mean, that's where I'm at. I know Michael Gallup hasn't signed. I know it was $7.5 million. Apparently, was a deal done. Now there's talks he's up to $13.5 million. Gallup might be hitting. If Gallup hits the market, you got to make a play. Because, let me see here. Yeah, he hasn't even, he still hasn't locked it in. And they got rid of Amari to make sure he fits. So, they're trying to lock it in. Austin says, yeah, unless we trade for DK, I don't care about the free agent wide receivers anymore. Agreed, bro. And what are you going to have to pay to get DK? Brian says DK's a play reason. Well, it's come out of Seattle that Lockett and they would listen to DK, but it's going to cost a lot, man. The watch my mistress says having a cold Guinness and watching all talk Dolphins. Good Sunday afternoon. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, the wife took the kids to her sister's, so I'm just chilling, man. Okay, so I've got 2 things out of the way, both Amari and obviously the whole, Watson stuff. People need to be patient. Let's see. They got a game plan. Right now, they've shown you they're not going to overpay. I told you that this team would not get into bidding wars. I said this to you guys. I've said this about players that we all liked in free agency, that this team is not going to get into bidding wars. So if you are a older Dolphin fan like I am, well, I'm not even that old, I guess, but still, you know what I'm saying. At 37 years old, I guess I'm one of the more tenured ones I've noticed in this community, considering, which amazes me. Trust me, I'm not bragging in any sense of the fact. On March 13th, 2000, that's when Dan Marino announced his retirement from the NFL. Let's talk about this for a sec.
I want to thank you all for coming. After 17 years, I would like to announce my retirement from the Miami Dolphins. After playing the game of football for most of my life, this was an extremely difficult decision. But I know that I've made the right decision for me and my family. I'm going to miss everything about it. I'm going to miss the relationships with the players. I'm going to miss the fans. I'm going to miss the great friends that I've made over this time. And I am honored that Coach Shula is here today. Coach, not only have you been a tremendous impact on my career, but you have taught me how to be a true professional. And I'm very proud of the fact that we were able to win more games than any other coach quarterback combination in the history of football.
A lot of golf and a lot of time with the family now ahead for Dan Marino.
Honestly, one of the most painful days as a Dolphin fan. And I saw someone in the comments say it, especially after getting shellacked by Mark Brunell and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I've told this story before, but my story with that is that was the first game, a little bit about me, which is actually had to put my stepfather into, you know, a home, to get around the clock care because he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's about a year and a half ago, and he's declining rapidly. But funny enough, the first game he actually ever watched my stepfather, because if people know me, like, my first ever picture with my father, my biological father, he's holding me in a Dan Marino jersey. The first ever game my stepfather watched with me was that Jacksonville game where we got shellacked 62-7. It was absolutely painful. And I remember, like, I was angry. Like when we lost to the Bills in the AFC Championship in the early 90s, and I was watching it with my dad, like I cried. But when we lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars, I was angry. I was an angry, angry person that day. Watch Mr. says, now why the hell did you go and show that Marino clip? Destroyed me, damn it. It destroyed me, man. Like that's why I always have a little bit of resentment for Jimmy Johnson. You know what I mean? Like, is because, I know the tumultuous relationship him and Marino had, and I know, he's one of the driving forces of why Marino left. And it's something I've always been mad. And, you think about it, like, how Barry Sanders was given, he seeked a trade, and the Dolphins had an offer ready to go for Dan Marino. And sorry, not for Dan Marino, for Barry Sanders, and he was going to be a Dolphin. And basically, the Lions said that, we're not trading you; it's us or the Dolphins. And obviously, it's us or retirement. And obviously, Sanders ended up retiring. And you think about what he could have been with Sanders; they both could have played a couple extra years potentially together. And the thing that always stings as a Dolphin fan is how close Ricky Williams was to overlapping the final years of Marino. And you think to yourself, if Marino would have had Ricky, right, and Jimmy Johnson, then when Jimmy Johnson came in, because he wanted to run more to, run the ball more and take it out of Marino's hands more. And, but we we didn't have the best running back room in the world. I mean, the only 1,000-yard rusher ever had was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who ended up getting sued. Shout out to Chris C. Said, reason you and I born on the same day, February 18, 1985. Man, appreciate it. But that's crazy, bro. That is, that's nuts, man. Small world, huh? So, yeah, it's just kind of crazy that this day on Dolphins history, Dan Marino retired from the NFL. Honestly, one of the saddest days. One of the saddest days. So, I really, I always think about to myself, man, if Ricky and Marino would just had 2 or 3 years together, they would have had a chip. If Barry, that trade would have went through, Marino would have stuck around. Because there are rumblings that he was paid by the Dolphins to retire a Dolphin because the Vikings were actually interested in making a move for him. So he would have played in the early years of Randy Moss with also Chris Carter. So it just, I don't know. It would have been interesting, It would have been really interesting to see if we would have had either Barry Sanders or Ricky Williams, like an actual running game. I know he wanted to sling it. The guy was a definition of a gunslinger, but man, sad. We never got that chip, man. And now 21-year anniversary of watching the greatest Dolphin walk away. So sad times. But with that said, you know what? Let's pivot here. It is going to be draft season very shortly, and let's get into my top 10 wide receiver big board. It was fun going over the film, man. You go over it through the season, you take your notes, then you go back over the film, and you have certain time marks, you go over them, and you refresh yourself. And man, I forgot how fun some of this stuff in this class was. So Griffin Gaming says, just think, our best QB since Marino retired played for Jacksonville at game, Jay Fiedler. Yeah, ridiculous. Ridiculous. People were going to say Chad Pennington, but I like Chad Pennington, but I pushed back that the only reason we won that division was Ronnie Brown and the Wildcat. The coaches were smart enough to implement the Wildcat, but the Wildcat actually was something that Ronnie Brown was using at Auburn, and and that's why he executed it so well. So, him and Cadillac Williams ran it basically at Auburn. And so, if it wasn't for the Wildcat and it wasn't for Ronnie Brown, who I think is one of the most underrated Dolphins in the last 20 years, I loved me some Ronnie Brown. And if he didn't have to split carries with Ricky, he would have had way more 1,000-yard seasons. I think Ronnie is who I give a lot of that credit to when you're talking about players executing it on the field. Obviously, the coaching staff deserves credit too. But yeah, so wide receiver, man, I love this class. I really, really do. I love this class. I think, I'm kind of swaying towards 29 with the receiver just because of how free agency is working out. Hey, maybe Gallup hits and they surprise me. I'm down with paying Gallup 10 to 12 million. So, let's get into this. I'm excited to do this, guys. A lot of work goes into these shows between me and my graphic guy. So smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. We just passed 7,000. We're on our way to 8K. I want to get to 10K. By the end of this regular season. I would love to get there before the season starts. But you got to be a little realistic. So love to get there by the end of the season. Hopefully we can get there. Draft season is upon us, and this is where we shine, baby. So free agency this week. It's going to be heavy, but be tuned in. We're going to be ready to go this week. If I go live multiple times every day, we'll do it. So you can count on me when breaking news comes this week. All right. Let's get into this, baby. Let's start off with the honorable mentions, as we always do. And of course, the honorable mentions are 15 to 11. Let's roll through them. So at 15, I got Khalil Shakir. I was thinking of Tupac Shakur there for a sec. Khalil Shakir out of Boise State. Good route runner who shows good explosiveness into his breaks. He's a playmaker. You just get the ball into his hands. You'll let him go to work because he offers a lot after the catch. Good release off the line of scrimmage. I know the homie Rome Gray, I think, loves this guy. He's an okay blocker at best. He does suffer from concentration drops here and there. At 14, I got Jalen Tobert out of South Alabama. He's a great athlete who's testing at the combine, shows on tape. He's a deep threat who can also offer yards after the catch if dumped off to go underneath. He's good at the catch point, but not the naturalist of separators out there. At 13, I got Calvin Austin out of Memphis. Oh, sorry, my bad. Calvin Austin the third. Freak athlete. 4.3 240 at the combine and 11.3 broad jump. Sauce Gardner, one of the top corners in this draft, has gone against him and said he was actually the toughest receiver he's gone against in his college football years. And Austin actually, if you go back to the 2020 tape against Sauce, Austin actually did give him the work pretty freaking badly. He's only 5'8" and 170 pounds, though he's dynamic. That size is kind of far from it. At 12, I got Sky Moore out of Western Michigan. Great hands that stick to the ball when it's thrown his way. Huge hands too at 10 1/4 inch. He can block fairly well, and he also runs a 4.4 140. Very good nuanced route runner. He uses head fakes, jab steps, etc., to create separation in his route. He can eat against press or zone. Just understands how to attack leverage really well. Because of his size, he's not going to win many contested catches or climb the ladder against defenders in the NFL, though. And then John Mechie, okay? I have Mechie at 11, but I want everyone to realize as I'm getting into 1 to 11, from 1 to 11, there's some of these guys. Okay, let me put it this way. From 1 to 5 in my board, I'm talking about I'm giving you a soft grade. I have my own personal grades, but I'm giving you a soft grade. Think of my board for the wide receiver specifically when you look at him this year. From 1 to 5, I'm okay with at 29. Okay? From 6 to 11, I'm okay with at 50. All right? So when you're looking at Mechie, I'm okay with them taking him at 50. That's how much I like this class. So when you put that in perspective, what I'm telling you is, at worst, I think Khalil Shakir is like an early day 3 guy, and he's 15. All right? So think about that when you're listening to me, all right? I just had to make that clear because I've had to say this on podcasts. From 1 to 11, I am fine with some of these guys at 29 and some of these guys at 50. I really like this class. Like, when I tell you these guys are separated when we get from 1 to 11, really 1 to 12 a little bit, but 1 to 11, 15 to 12, these guys are separated by a hair. From 11 all the way up to 1, there's not a huge gap between anyone here, okay? So John Mechie is easily one of the best blocking receivers in this class. There's literally no doubt about that. He might be the best. He's a great ball tracker who can beat you vertically or in short areas against tight coverage. It's no problem for him. Obviously, the torn ACL is a concern, and that's why really he's down here at 11. But he can also get jammed at the line against press when you watch the tape. He has suffered now and then from drop issues, and he isn't the most consistent contested catch receiver in this draft when you look at it. So let's go from 10 to 6 now. At 10, I got Wan'Dale Robinson. He's an absolutely explosive athlete on tape, and the combine testing just confirmed what you saw. He's speedy, shifty, quick, and dynamic. Originally a Nebraska commit, Robinson transferred to Kentucky and put up 1,445 yards from the line of scrimmage in 2022, along with 7 touchdowns, which is what it took him 2 years to produce at Nebraska. So those same numbers he put in over a 2-year span when it only took him 1 year at Kentucky. Shout out to the homie Will Levis, my early quarterback crush for next year's draft. He was the favorite target, obviously, of Will Levis, the quarterback I'm high on in the 2022 draft. He was a running back, but he was moved to wide receiver and is used as sort of a gadget player, which is why I'm sure McDaniel would absolutely love him. He's a great runner. He's a great ball tracker, and he's a legit deep threat or over the middle, and he can also be explosive in short area situations. He's just, the problem is he's not the best blocker in the world and is more of a slot fit at 5'8", 178 pounds. At number 9, I have George Pickens. Don't let his placement on this list fool you. I like George Pickens a lot. It's just that I like a lot of the guys in this class that are separated by hair, like I've told you. But Pickens has the perfect size to be the X receiver I keep saying we need at 6'3", 195 with the ability to bulk the frame a bit. Physically gifted athlete, runs a 4.47 and a 125-inch broad jump. Has fantastic hands, soft as a baby's bottom with no drop issues. He's a very good route runner with an extensive tree that has allowed him to be a dependable weapon in the SEC. He can win a contested catch or manipulate his frame to adjust to make the catch on a poorly thrown ball. Big question is just how badly his ACL injury affected his explosiveness long-term, especially for a guy whose line of scrimmage release is just okay at best right now. Obviously, he does have off-field red flags too, which you guys can easily look into. That's all public knowledge. At number 8, again, I like this guy a lot. I'm down with Olaf at 50. Another, high level route runner in this draft class. There's a bunch of high level route runners in this draft class. Explosive in and out of his breaks combined with his 4.39 40 combine testing definitely makes him an intriguing option. He can stop on a dime and quickly accelerate back into top gear. Constantly finds a soft spot against zone coverage, helping himself get open for his quarterback. He has a decently sized catch radius too. Pretty elite ball tracking abilities from what I saw on tape, and speed allow him to be a good vertical deep threat. And he also shows high level of awareness. He can also stem and stack very well. Being solid at the line of scrimmage with your release, displaying good footwork and agility, blended with his speed and route running ability, allows Olaf to be a very good separator too. The thing is, what surprised me is I expected him to be a far better yards after the catch guy. That's what shocked me. I wasn't blown away with what I got after the catch when I watched him. And he plays like he's 187 pounds, right? He's not very physical at the catch point. He's a great, he's good. He just needs to bulk up a little bit, get stronger. But I'm a fan. At 7, I got Jahan Dotson. Great dependable hands, only 2 drops on 138 targets in 2022 with one of the worst quarterbacks I watched in this. It was terrible. I felt the most bad for him in terms of quarterback play when I was watching all these receivers. It just makes you wonder how much better he could have been if he wasn't at Penn, but we'll never know, right? He's a playmaker, had 11 20-plus yard touchdowns dating back to 2020. Shows impressive body control, attacks the ball well, and even at his 5'11", 178 size, he's not washed out in contested catches. He won't win every one, but he won't automatically lose either. Olaf's 9 pounds heavier, but he plays, light. Dotson doesn't play light. So decent against press too for his size. He's, he still has some issues, but he's not bad against it. Really good change of direction ability, can make a cut, not lose a fraction of speed. As explosive as he can be, what surprised me most, again, it's how average he was after the catch, especially when they manufactured touches for him. I was like, just like Olaf, he did not blow me away. After the catch, I wasn't like, oh my God, give me, I need this. I just wasn't. And I will say too, another reason why, he's not higher, he's just an okay route runner. It wasn't overly explosive in and out of his breaks. You know what I mean? They were, I'd call them crisp. I wouldn't call them rounded out, but he's not separating because of his route running ability. He's separating because of his physical attributes. So, gave that away, didn't I? At number 6, one of the best ball trackers in this class is David Bell. Shows high level concentration of defenders around him, or even when they try to out physical him. Understands inside outside leverage well and shows great body control with good balance, making him hard to knock off the stem of his route or release. Not afraid to lower his pad level to run through oncoming defenders, fighting for extra yards. Has some of the strongest and most reliable hands at the catch point. Doesn't matter if a defender gets both hands on the ball. If Bell does too, he's winning. Even though Purdue ran a limited route tree, Bell showed he was nuanced as a route runner and what he was asked to do, using his body control, balance, and awareness to make up for his lack of speed. Obviously, his issue is he's just an overall athlete, and he really just needs to get better as a blocker. But other than that, he's good. People expecting him to blow you away with athleticism at the combine obviously never watched David Bell. Number 5, I got Christian Watson. Christian is, he is a perfect blend of speed, size, and athleticism for the receiver position, being 6'4", 206 and running a 4.36 40. Can be downright dominant at the catch point with his ball skills and in contested catch situations. Suffered from inconsistent quarterback play, after Lance left, but made some superb catches he had no business making. Even at his size, can still be elusive and slippery enough to play in the slot, allowing a team the flexibility of using him inside as a Y, or you could use him outside as an X. It's really up to you. Has had a few drops, but overall, haven't seen a glaring issue with hands in 2021 like I did in the 2020 tape. And in fact, I think they've gotten pretty good, and he's displayed a good catch radius too. Even with somewhat limited route tree at North Dakota State, Watson displayed good change of direction, good explosion into his breaks, good body twitch while also stemming it, and overall displayed a pretty good aptitude for the position. I think I think he's smart enough and coachable enough for a much more expanded route tree and more responsibility. Watson understands inside and outside leverage fairly well. He separates with his speed and route running ability, which should translate well to the next level. I can't stress how he's got better as a route runner over the last 2 seasons. Knows how to use his start stop ability, has much cleaner breaks in his routes, and isn't rounding his routes off nearly as much as he did in 2020. He's so deadly one-on-one with a defender or an open field after the catch. He won't break ankles as much as right taking the right ankle and just flying past you. Now he does need to get better at his release. It was noticeable against FCS competition and at the Senior Bowl that he struggles with press, getting jammed easily. Obviously, he's not as polished overall as other prospects, but the tools, athleticism, speed, size, etc., they're all there to be a star receiver at the NFL level with good coaching and development. Now, guess what, guys? I did have an Ohio State receiver make the top 5, Garrett Wilson. Personally, you know, I am a big fan of Garrett Wilson. I think this guy has got a lot of special tools, man. Um, you know, I'm saying Garrett is where you got to remember all these guys, Christian Watson to now, these are guys I'm down to take at 29. Garrett Wilson is one of those guys I'm down to take at 29. He is a nearly pristine route runner, has good twitch to his body, is super shifty, has good spatial awareness, allowing him to find the soft spots in zone. You know, you look at his top end speed, 4.38 40. That allows him to stretch the field and makes him a player that can challenge defenses over the top. Explosive first steps leads into quick acceleration for Wilson. A great athlete with good body control. He can maneuver his body to make some pretty impressive catches or just jump up and go and get it. Probably the best hands of the class, arguably. Strong enough to make a contested catch in traffic, but soft enough to take in a well-placed ball, catch it, and turn up the field with no bobble or ball control issues. He's great at releasing at the line of scrimmage. This is what separates him from Chris Olave, with a variety of moves like stutter steps, hand checks, etc. Good burst and explosiveness in short areas allows him to be a yards after the catch threat on the short to intermediate level. I think he's one of the best separators in this class. Between his savvy route running, speed, and quickness, Wilson can be a handful for a defender to try and stick to. He's deadly after the catch in open space with a wide array of moves to be elusive enough to cause defenders to miss, whether it's a juke or a spin. Can be used out wide or in the slot. Ohio State had no issue doing this. Also used on jet sweeps and screens. He isn't a guy who's going to break a plethora of tackles, but he will make defenders miss. That's how he's going to do. And also, he has a good frame. And he needs strength to be added because he is not a very good blocker by any stretch of the imagination. And if he becomes a better blocker, he's going to become a very complete receiver. This guy is special. Garrett Wilson is very special. Number 3, Jameson Williams. If not for the ACL injury, Jameson Williams would be vying for the top spot. You know, he's that good. And the thought of a healthy Jameson teamed with Waddle, guys, that is truly salivating. Williams is the definition of a home run threat. He shows a great blend of speed, size, height-wise size at least, body twitch and athleticism on tape. I know Hurricanes fans remember this. He's a big-time player. Williams ranked first in the SEC in yards with 1,572, yards per reception, 19.9, and touchdowns with 15, and was an absolute monster against Georgia in the SEC championship game, which I have some highlights here at the end of his package that you'll see. And Georgia was one of the best defenses in the nation. You know, he's a transfer from Ohio State, and obviously that was a smart move, who saw an opportunity with Smith and Waddle going to the NFL, and he made the most of it. Also, a side note, in high school, he beat Ezekiel Elliott's state school record in the 300-meter hurdles. He's a good route runner who can stop on a dime and accelerate to the next gear just as easily, which helps with his stutter steps. And Jameson is a very good separator, always leaving defenders on their heels due to his explosiveness. He's really a blend of Waddle and Jerry Jeudy, if you actually think about it a little bit. Shows good ball tracking and concentration, though not the most physical. Had no real issues going up and making contested catches with defenders all over him. The guy is an absolute yak monster when the ball gets in his hands because of his first step, short area burst, and long speed. Once he gets gearing up, this guy is gone like a thief in the freaking night with the ball. He is just super, super special. And he can play either the outside or he can get kicked into the slot. Obviously, when you look at his frame, his physicality is lacking a little bit. And it's kind of surprising because he's so good in contested catchability, but he's not very good blocker and he can struggle with press a little bit. Obviously, the big concern is how his speed and on-field athleticism will be impacted, if at all, because he had an ACL tear, and it's obviously different than the clean break that Waddle had. So, number 2 on my list, guys, if you've never just dived into a player before, Treylon Burks is some of the funnest film. I think Treylon Burks is the perfect fit for Mike McDaniel's offense. And although there was only one Deebo Samuel, Treylon can be just as explosive of a weapon if McDaniel had him at his disposal. Burks displays a rare combination of freakish athleticism for a receiver that's 6'2", 225. He moves way quicker than you expect and explodes in and out of his cuts like he's sub 200 pounds, it seems. Burks has arguably the surest hands in the class. It's a battle for defenders to keep him from getting them on the ball, and if he does, it seems like it's almost certain that it's a catch. Tracks balls at an elite level by showing a high level of focus and concentration at the catch point. Doesn't matter what's happening around him. He's got one thing on his mind, bring the ball down in his grasp. So versatile, can be used in short areas out of the backfield, bubble screens, jet screens, lined up in the backfield, or take the top off the defense as a legitimate deep threat. Burks literally does it all. Displays good quick feet that help with his release at the line of scrimmage and has enough functional strength that press should never be an issue with him getting jammed at the line from what I've watched that film on at least. The strength that he has shows up at the catch point when his catches are contested, as he regularly uses his physical traits to win, whether it be to outmuscle or outmaneuver the defender by manipulating his body, displaying good body control. He's a playmaker after the catch, plain and simple. He'll rack up extra yards with his speed and athleticism, especially if you manufacture space for him. Burks' physicality also shows up in the run game as he's a pretty damn good blocker. He's just a mismatch nightmare for opposing defenses and coordinators. Needs a bit of refinement as a route runner, relies on body control more than speed, twitching his head fakes, and basically any nuanced aspect of route running. And once Burks gets going, he's a runway freight train, but there's somewhat of an effort for him to get there as his acceleration is not as desirable as his top end speed. And then the number 1 guy on my list should be no surprise. Drake London is an absolute man crush of mine. This guy is, I think, the best X receiver in the draft. This guy is my biggest man crush. at this position this year, and someone I've been gushing over for quite some time on this channel. I think Drake is a super special player. He's 6'4". Yo, he's 219. Was a two-sport athlete with both football and basketball in high school, and with his quickness, body control, and ability to go up and win contested catches, as if he was trying to box out for a rebound in the paint, it clearly shows. No concerns at all with his release. Has quick feet, knows how to use his hands, and at his size, let alone when he grows fully into his frames, it'll really help him against physical corners trying to jam him. He's an elite ball tracker with really good hands. He can snag the ball over the top of defender, playing him tightly, or win with two defenders closed down on him. I saw him win against multiple double coverage. Against double coverage multiple times with his hands. He's a playmaker who can make plays at all three levels with good quickness in and out of his breaks. He can stem and stack vertically, or is smart enough to find the soft spot against zone coverage. His burst and short area quickness also allows him to be a threat after the catch. He may not have, elite long speed, but he does have great acceleration for his size, spatial awareness, and is clearly elusive enough since he forced 22 missed tackles in 2021, despite missing 4 games. Watch this. Whoop! Leaped over him. You're going to see the other view. Watch the leap he does here. Don't let his size fool you. He can be used in the slot, on screens, jet sweeps. He's just not pigeonholed to the boundary yet. I do believe he's an ideal X receiver for McDaniel. I think he's going to gobble up touchdowns in the NFL. It's one of the better red zone threats, especially as he gets refined by NFL coaching and experience. Has a motor that doesn't stop. It shows up. He's a great blocker. And he's willing to engage and does a great job in that area. Obviously, the ankle fracture will have to be looked into NFL teams, but it didn't hurt the boy Waddle. And he's definitely not a burner who didn't have an expanded route tree at USC, whether he was in the slot where he played a lot in 2020 or on the boundary where he played more in 2021. So he needs to be refined there, which will help him separate more at the top of his route consistently at the next level. But yeah, other than top end speed, London is complete gets. He is a phenomenal player, and I think he's the best X receiver in this draft. I would love him or George Pickens as an X receiver in this system. Really would. Hey, if you want to play with X and Z with Waddle and Jameson, I ain't gonna deny it. But London, I do think is going to be the first receiver off the board. So I don't even think we're going to have a chance to take him. But you guys know I've been talking about London for quite some time. Absolutely fantastic player. I think he's going to get special. I think him, Treylon Burks, and Jameson Williams, I think those are sure things at the next level. I think Garrett Wilson's right there too. I think Christian Watson needs some refinement, but he has all the tools to be that. And then I like, from 1 to 11, whether at top 5 at 29 or 6 to 11 at 50, I'm happy either way. Who do I think is going to be there at wide receiver? I think Jameson Williams might be there at receiver. I think he might fall. It's going to be interesting to see how Christian Watson falls. James Williams might fall just because of his injury. Shout out to the homie Christopher Sanders for the for the $23 donation, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, Christopher. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, my friend. No message, but I appreciate you, Chris. Thank you. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything rolls out here. But, I think there will be options at 29 receiver-wise. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I have to watch how the board falls. Really? Alec Pierce, Larry, was actually my 16th receiver. It was a battle between him and Shakir to get to 15. And then Ross is 17 on my board. I like Pierce out of Cincinnati, though. fine taking a guy like that on day 3. Fine all day. But guys, I'm tomorrow free agency opens. I believe it's at 12 p.m. Eastern. So, let's get it. Let's get it. Man, I know everyone. I just got a text about 3 minutes ago about Collins and the Dolphins. Maybe I'm going to look into that. Get some more information and see what I can drop on the Patreon in regards to that. But I just got some information that the Dolphins are closing in on Lyle Collins right now. So, hopefully, if they're going to get it done, they're going to get it done before free agency opens. So we'll see how it works out. We will see how it works out, man. Like I said, that was the first move that I did on my mock free agency. That is the best. Yeah, man. Yesterday I was hearing the Bengals and the Denver Broncos as a dark horse, and now I just got a text saying that we're closing in. So I'm gonna check in on that and see what I can find out. But yeah, this is the move. You listen, you could get Lyle Collins and Ryan Jensen for the price of Terran Armstead. And I would trade the 50th overall pick for Lyle Collins. I don't think you're going to have to give up the 29th pick. I really don't. And so you can give the 5th and a 4th or a 5th conditional. You give up that 50th and a 4th or 5th conditional. I'd do that. You're not going to find a better, realistically, you're not going to find a better player at 29 potentially. But get him at 50, that's the move, man. Getting him with that 50th pick, that's the move. Lyle Collins is easily the best right tackle option on the market right now. And the blind side is more important right now to me than left tackle, which is just going to be oncoming defender. Right? So hell, they could want to see what Austin Jackson has back at left tackle in this system. So exactly, Topher. That 101, I ain't touching that. I'm moving up with that to go get Matt Ariza. Go give me a wide receiver at 29, Lyle Collins with the 50th pick, and Matt Ariza with that 101, whether you take him at 101 or move up. Go get that done right now. So I'm going to, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to check into that. I'll drop the link if some of you guys want to join me backstage. But I'm going to check into that right now. And, I know there's going to be, hey, listen, this is what I got to say with big boards. I was meaning to say this last time. With scouts, evaluators, everything is subjective, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone has their formulas, their criteria, and, they like players based on their criteria and what they're looking for. So remember, big boards are subjective. These are my thoughts. You guys know I put in the film work. And, it's all 22 or nothing over here. And so these are just my thoughts, my feelings on the wide receiver class. Like I said, from 1 to 11, between 29 and the 50th pick, there's a ton of guys I like. And then when you're talking on day 3, when you look at 12 and beyond, there's a ton of guys I like there too. So it's a really deep class. We don't have to break the bank and spend 18 to 20 million on a receiver. Let's shore up this offensive line. Let's get the running back room right. And then let's fill out this receiver room. Shout out, Watch Mr. Why not spend on Armstead? Money ain't going any good just sitting there because we have so many needs, right? I'm hearing Armstead is between $23 to $25 million a year right now is his asking price. That's a lot of money for a guy who's never played. Now, if Armstead is willing to take 18 to 18.5 million, I'm down. But 23 to 25 million for a guy who's never played 16 games in a season. I don't know if I can swallow that one. Pause. I'm talking about pills. Get your minds out of the gutter. So, I'm I think people are going to be shocked because Armstead dominates that left tackle market. Dominates it. So, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. I hope all of you have a fantastic Sunday. You can better believe I'm going to be seeing you tomorrow. Tampering window opens up. I'll be seeing y'all tomorrow. And I'll be seeing y'all a lot this week. Let's get it, baby. You already know what time it is. Stay happy, healthy, safe, and blessed. Love each and every one of you. Fins up all day, every day, baby.